Nikki, thank you for taking this on to talk to me, interview me.
Oh, absolutely. It's a pleasure. Like, I mean, I've been a huge fan of your stone since, and like really what you're doing with your mind since I first met you. I think at the first Chicago Responsible Jewelry Conference.
Yeah, yeah. The Responsible Jewelry Conference is an amazing conference, refreshing compared to a lot of conferences. And even as Eric mentioned previously, all the conferences now, one of the top subjects is responsible sourcing.
Yeah, which is super exciting to see.
Yes, yeah. I was just on the SIBJO have their annual meetings, and I was just on a panel there, and it was amazing with Leela from the United Nations Global Compact and Iris from the RJC. They had amazing things to say, and it's just encouraging that every year we ramp up and it becomes more important.
Oh my God, definitely. It's so encouraging to see. Um, but yeah, anyways, like I'd love to talk a little bit about kind of how you got started in all of this and, let people know a little bit more about what you're uh, doing with your mind down in Brazil.
Yeah, well, it all started in Salt Lake City when my mama birthed me, and I came out and I saw Mount Olympus. So I became a fan of mountains and deserts and nature all my life. Uh, I studied geology, and while I was in school, I began a deep interest in rocks and the lapidary arts, and this was in the early 1980s in Sonoma County, California. Uh, and indeed, it was during that time. Well, back up. I married a Brazilian woman, 1975, and we're still together. Kendra, you know Kendra, the better half of our relationship. But anyway, so it was actually back in the 80s when I began bringing crystal out of Brazil. It was during the first crystal wave. And it was during that time that I was introduced to one of the most beautiful regions in Brazil, the Chapada Diamantina in the middle of the state of Bahia. I was taken out there. It was so remote. The village that I connected with at the time, they told me I was the first foreigner they'd ever seen.
Oh,
It was a
wow.
remote village, um, no electricity until into the mid 90s. And that's where I'm based today with our own mines, which is the rutilated quartz. Rutile, people know that we mine and cut amazing stones from this region. It's a unique single source, but I think maybe not a lot of people realize that I'm involved with the development of the original Paraíba tourmaline mine. So, and that was 1988, 89 when I ran into that, which veered me away from rutilated quartz for about 10 years. I got really focused on that. And that's my other passion, Paraíba tourmaline and the rutilated quartz. Although I love all stones, it could be a pebble I find at the beach. It's, they're all good.
Yeah, they all have a unique like magic to them.
Correct.
But
Yes.
yeah, no, I'm wearing a couple of your stones too, rutilated quartz that I loved so much I had to keep it for myself.
Mm.
And this really amazing rutilated hematite, which I think when I first saw this from you, it was the first time I'd really seen a stone that looked quite like this.
Yeah, exactly. The hematite is associated with the stars and the epitaxial crystal growth. And it's rutilated quartz occurs around the world sporadically in little tiny bits and pieces. Could be the Alps, could be California, a lot of places. Madagascar produces commercial, and Minas Gerais, and some new discoveries in Africa coming up. But this one mountain range is so unique that it produces this golden rutile, with the stars in large quantity. And it's one of the most exotic biomes I've ever experienced because we have the merging of the tropical rainforest with the desert lands of Brazil with the Cerrado, which is higher elevation. So I'm just passionate about the place. It took me 12 years to legalize my claim, and I was the first person to ever stake claims in that area. And after doing that, we were able to help the local landowners become formalized. And that's the first step in the whole process of this responsible sourcing is working with the locals and help them become formalized so that they're not marginalized, they become legalized. So we did that, and then we created a cooperative. Now there's over 1,500 members
Wow.
because it's a vast mountain range. Right now there's not so many miners, but at the peak before the pandemic, there was as many as 2,500, 3,000 miners scattered across the mountain range. I would say 10% of the uh, mining population are women.
Hmm.
The women also participate besides the actual mining, but in the processing. So it's a large community supported by this stone, as many as 15,000 people in the region with small villages. The main town is Novo Horizonte with a population of about 5,000. So it's typical of artisanal small scale mining communities around the world. And so our focus has been about what can we do to help those folks that are at the interface of pulling the stones out of the ground. How can we help them? And how can we help the land? So it's people and land. And that's really the emphasis of the projects that we're involved in there.
Which is really amazing to hear because I feel like most of the time you hear about mining, it's either a lot of times it's in relation to like kind of human rights violations or like environmental degradation or stuff like that. So it's really amazing hearing like the exact opposite happening, and that the stone is able to really kind of help support a community
Yeah.
rather than it being a means of like exploiting a community.
Well, the history of our industry is about exploitation, really. And I think the shift in consciousness and the shift where we are going in the future is based around sustainability. And that means sustaining people and land. So I think our industry as a whole, and everyone from the producers to the makers, have a voice in this about creating the direction that we go as an industry. And I think as an industry, we have the opportunity to lead by example. We need more projects. We need more real projects, verifiable with traceability. And there's, in our group, there's so many of us doing these projects, but it's right now, I feel like we need to do more linkage, more connecting, and with there's so many groups, ethical medicinists, etc., that once we become more linked and more united, that general message of benefiting people and land will essentially enhance our whole industry. Everybody wins.
Yeah, and like that's really what we need is like everyone can win from this.
We need
And
more
just
stories. We need more stories, and that's what we're
yeah.
working on. Um, my project, after the formalization, the next step is about bringing in the lapidary skills to add value at the source. It brings jobs. It creates entrepreneurship with the locals. So right now we're working to put together a lapidary academy,
Awesome.
and so we may get some help and funding from outside groups, which is the only way it's going to happen. A lot of the larger companies with very deep pockets are doing great projects around the world, from De Beers to Greenland Ruby, etc. Those projects and the deep pockets to do the PR. To me, it's based on image. It's based on
Yeah.
looking good, which, that's fine. We have to all market something, market ourselves, but the boots on the ground, the people doing the small projects, they could benefit from any kind of assistance. During the pandemic, friend Jill in the UK, she has a wonderful business called She's Lost Control. She stepped in and created her type of NGO called Crystal Clear. And through her efforts, we were able to, during the pandemic, provide food and safety equipment to our miners in the region. So it's very small, grassroots efforts like that, which we can link to other efforts, which is going to expand the whole thing. That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, that's amazing. Is there any way that people can kind of get involved with supporting this lapidary academy kind of effort?
Well, yes, I think so. To tell you the truth, right now looking for um, I'm looking for support through some traditional, uh, and I'm not gonna mention it because it's a little early, but I think I may get some funding. But once that happens, the real support comes from buying the products. And Nature's Geometry, our business, which we've founded in 1989, we've always done our own cutting. And I have, at one point, my shop had as many as 13 employees. Right now, we're down to myself and 3 in the cutting. And we've shifted from doing products on scale to more one-off special cuts. And that's kind of what we do. I have a whole line which I call iconic, and that consists of, for example, stones that are kind of exceptional.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So, I have a small amount of iconic stones that come from very small production of that quality. But indeed, to get these stones, we have to not only from our own mines, but purchasing from the other producers. I get rough, and we also produce a lot of small goods. So I know, Nikki, you as a goldsmith and as a maker and a fabricator, I like to cut big stones because I look for those amazing stones. But I understand it's not everyone that can use large stones. It's very expensive to put jewels together, right?
Yeah.
You need smaller, delicate stones. But so we do that too. For example, you know, a lot that we have to offer are small. Here's a little cat's eye.
Oh,
Beautiful,
wow.
right?
Yeah. No, I've been a big fan of your slices too, where you can still kind of get like a larger look from
Correct.
something, but it's still lightweight enough that you can like make earrings out of them or something, and they're not going to be like very heavy.
Yeah. So I've done a lot of small or thin slices that you can mount for earrings or drill, so you can mount them like that. Like, I'll show you these real quick. But for example, this is a pair of ovals. Wait, here we go.
Oh, yep.
See? Very clean, beautiful little golden rutile in there. So I do a lot of pairs. The thing
Yeah.
is, I would the easiest way to contact me is through phone directly or through my email, which I'm going to put on here for you. Um, I'll end up putting it in the feed, so it'll be there permanently. But I think um, that's the best way to contact me. I'm not real active on social media, but I'm learning about that. Uh, but I'm going to post in here some of the links that you can go to. But I think it'd be interesting to also talk about the some of the other things I've been involved in too. For example, uh, 2017 to 2019, I was involved in a project in the Amazon working for with Swarovski. And this was very interesting because it opened up a lot of education for me in the realm of how do you do due diligence? How do you go to the sources and find out if it's legal, if there's any environmental problems, if there's any social problems, etc. And that was a 3-year project. And in that process of finding a source of topaz for Swarovski, we ended up in Hondonia State in the Amazon. That's where I met the Surui tribe. And through that connection, we were able to bring 2 chiefs to the Chicago conference a couple
I
years ago.
remember that. That was a really incredible
It was
kind of,
pretty,
yeah.
it was pretty mind blowing that we could do that. Of course, through the efforts of Susan and the Chicago conference. I mean, which is pretty amazing. But so now I have a relationship in the Amazon with different tribes, and also during recently there's a source of amethyst found nearby, which I will be showing some amazing, unusual amethyst slices in Tucson. So these new sources are coming out that we'll be able to show in Tucson. And I don't know how many people are going to make it to Tucson, but this year Tucson will be amazing. As our small group will have a venue at the Masonic Temple. It's going to be an amazing event, and there you can find, what all of us are involved in and what we do, and we're all about education. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll also be at the AGTA. We'll have a booth there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's going to be really exciting to see how that show keeps evolving. Even going to the inaugural one in, yeah, that was 2020, right?
20, right?
Yeah, wow. Um, but yeah, even going to that was really great, and it's a totally different vibe than a lot of the other Tucson shows, but it's great because you can have those like conversations with people and really have that education aspect in there too. So yeah, and clearly like all of you guys are great.
Well, this year is going to be even better because we'll be up in the main ballroom. Plus, we'll have the whole lobby available, which will be open for meetings and collaborations and educational opportunities. And in the years to come, it's going to be amazing. Bahia, where I work, also produces amazing quartz. This 3.5 kilo
Wow.
natural piece is an example of some of the resources in Bahia State. Bahia State, by the way, is the size of California or France. And so I also deal in a lot of crystals and minerals, which I have since the early 80s. Uh, we can do museum quality pieces like this. This is a gorgeous rutilated quartz, unpolished, out of the ground,
Wow.
right? Just this would be in the cinnamon color rutile. So perfect.
Gorgeous.
So something like this goes to a high-end collector. This is, 1 in 20,000. You just more, yeah, 1 in 50,000. You don't get crystals like this, so rare. So
Wow.
we work with those, or for example, Bahia has all kinds of. Look at this orange thing, right? Orange crystal,
Wow.
beautiful little point. So from points like these that I would sell for about $3 to museum pieces that would be 5,000. Those are in our repertoire. I also like to work with in rutilated quartz, for example. It's rare to get nice crystals.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you really don't see, nice little
Yeah,
points like
and
that.
you don't, and so that's one of the things that I feature is getting jewelry quality points. So those will also be available. I think I'm going to put
Beautiful.
my phone number in here so that people can contact me directly. I like talking to people. WhatsApp is a great venue for communicating, and I invite people to contact me directly because I'm not much of a social media guru at this point.
It's okay. Social media is kind of overrated sometimes.
Well, it's important. It works,
Mhm.
but it's time consuming.
Yeah.
And I have other things I like to be involved in, whether it's cutting or creating or mining, set prospecting. That's what I like to do.
Yeah. I mean, you're involved in a lot of projects. At the end, oh my God, that star.
There you go. I'll have a lot of these, a good quantity of these in Tucson, but also again, contact me directly and I can send photos and we can work on that level, which is any time of the year. Doesn't have to be during a show. Um, as a lapidary artist, I've done a lot of different things. As a carver, for example, this is a natural citrine. You see the heart shape there?
Oh, beautiful.
This is a series that I call Connected Hearts. So this is a natural citrine, 125 carats, and it's hearts all interconnected. And I've been doing these since the mid 90s. This is from the Central Plateau of Brazil, where I source a lot of my crystal. Um, I guess I might as well just keep going, right? Here is This is a quartz crystal vessel, and encased in here is original Paraíba tourmaline rough.
Oh, wow.
So you can, not many people have access to that. Now I did and still do have. The other thing is when we do our drilled pieces, uh, we polish the holes. Not many people do that.
Details are important at the
Yeah,
end of the day.
yeah. But that's original Paraíba tourmaline there. So there you can buy a sample of original Paraíba, and it's not going to cost a lot. That's why I made that to begin with. It's like the stone is so magic, the energy of it is so beyond that I wanted a way for people to have access to the actual stone amplified by the quartz.
Beautiful.
If there's questions coming in, please ask.
I don't see any questions just right now, but I mean, everybody is, just gasping over,
Show more
the
love.
rutilated quartz pieces.
Okay, look at this. All right, this.
Yep, the comments are just like, nope, no questions, just admiring the gemstone.
Okay, so nice smoky quartz, natural, right? Watch this. On the flip side,
Oh my God, that rough
right?
rutile.
Yeah, it's right just under the surface and on the surface, and it's like these things blow my mind. So pieces like this are real collectible. The other thing is there's no such thing as a sustainable mine. They eventually run out. So this material is going to become more rare and eventually impossible to get. Therefore, one of the main parts of my initiative is while we are mining this, let's develop other parallel work that will bring in money eventually. And my project is around regenerative agriculture, organic farming. Get that implemented right away. It hits so many of the UN sustainability development goals
Yeah,
that it's like, our industry should be supporting that all around the world with all these artisanal communities. Get
100%.
farming, create food security, and then grow things that are valuable: spice, herb, medicine, etc. So that's a key part to my project, and it's going to become more and more important as we go forward. And I think as an industry, if we support that, it will look good. Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's
Mining and
important.
regenerative agriculture.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have to do it anyway, no matter what, as a species to even survive. We need to do this. But if we do it as an industry and support it, I keep telling the industry when I give lectures and such, it's like it adds relevance to our product, right?
absolutely.
Um,
Oh, someone is asking, show us what kind of mineral is your favorite?
let's see. Well, let's see. Where is that? Oh, all right. Well, okay. Of course, Paraíba tourmaline. I used to own gem crystals that I should have kept at least one, but I do have this piece right now.
Ooh,
This is from the original mine. You can see copper color.
oh my God.
So that's a significant piece, which I've never shown anyone. Um, and of course, rutilated. The ones I've been showing you. They're all right. My favorite mineral is the one I'm looking at. Could be anything. Okay, but for example, this you can see is a stack of unusually formed, radically shaped quartz crystals in odd habits, and they're all stuck together. It looks like a sort of a rocket ship.
Yeah, someone was just saying that it looks like a quartz spaceship.
Yeah, or a crystal pistol. But I like rare and unusual formations. I collect odd habits. When in the stones that we'll be offering, I will include, for example, crystal specimens. This is similar to the one I just showed you, but miniature, odd habits and forms. So I'll be having in Tucson, I'll have lots of crystals available for jewelry, and I'll include odd shaped ones. I don't know. This is a really neat piece here. Again, the cinnamon rutile.
It's such a gorgeous color.
It is.
Oh, that pear is beautiful.
Right. And to make pears and rutile is it's very difficult. You have to cut it from the same stone, obviously.
Yeah.
So we specialize in that. We do a lot of pears. Um, I'll have loads for the Tucson show. But again, just contact me if you want to see anything. What else? Yeah. One of my favorite minerals is manganotantalite. It's a heavy metal. It's the mineral is tantalum, and it's associated. It was one of the first stones found on top of the Paraíba tourmaline mine. So in the pegmatite district of Bobarema up in northeast Brazil, Rio Grande do Norte and Paraíba, there's a lot of rare, unusual minerals, and the tantalite is one of my favorites. Just so heavy, it just feels like it connects you with the core of the plant.
Wow.
What else? Yeah, so we're a family business. We're not big. My wife and I started Nature's Geometry in 1989. Our daughter Quendi is heavily involved with core jewelry, which I should give a link. I have a link tree. Did I post
I
that?
think you had
I did. Okay, so
posted. Yep.
on that, there's a lot of all the links to everything. I'm going to go ahead and throw in the link to the initiative out of the UK, Crystal Clear Initiative. She's been a great support. And, I just look forward to keep creating. At one point, I actually won a Spectrum Award for one of our pieces. And it even got on the cover of the Rolling Stone. I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
gemology. Where is that? See if I can find that real quick. Oh well, I wasn't prepared. Oh yeah, here we go. See,
Oh, beautiful.
that's a wheel of light with rutilated quartz as the toggle. It was a very large piece, 24 karat gold. You can see there's a piece of Paraiba tourmaline rough dangling.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't usually do the spectrum stuff, but I decided if I was going to do it, I was going to go for it. Anyway, so we make
Yeah.
jewelry. We do, my wife, Kendra, she's an aromatherapist, old school. She knows medical, psychology, all of that. And back in 1989, she invented aroma jewels, which is when we started doing our cutting with the drilled holes, and you put essential oil into the stone. And that's been going since 1989.
Nice.
Any more questions? I covered everything, but
Yeah.
essentially, you should know that the projects in Brazil are important, and they will serve as an example to inspire other projects around the world.
Well, it was great hearing about all the projects you're involved in right now. More about your mine, and obviously seeing all of these gorgeous stones. So yeah, definitely contact Brian. Check out more of his stones, and yeah, hopefully, we can all connect again in Tucson.
Yeah, I'm going to give you my email while we're here. So contact me. Email or phone is the quickest and easiest, and I can send photos and communicate that way.
Awesome.
So we have more time?
Um,
Well, Nikki, you
this?
work with a lot of stones, and your jewelry is I like it. It's very clean and it's manufactured. It's I really appreciate that you're using our stones, one, but and you're in Carlsbad, which
Yep.
is epicenter of gemology.
Yep. I'm, my studio's down the street from GIA.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love working with your stones. Really, especially, the unique cuts, and like really that your stones like bring out the magic that's in rutilated quartz in a way that, I haven't really seen in a lot of, like standard like cabochons, or, like the cuts that you kind of see like more on a mass scale.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's amazing, really.
Yeah, it's a real art to cutting rutile. It's so complex. Yes, and so for me, it's more fun to cut artistically and show what you can find inside. We have done, standardized cuts by special order for a specific project. That's fine. I do that too. But typically, what you'll find with us is everything's one off. Pretty much. Although, the earrings that we do that are top drilled, the top is always the same diameter and the hole the same. So in case you need to create a top to replicate, it's easy.
Awesome. Yeah, it's, I appreciate everything. Oh my goodness.
This is
That one too.
this is something special. To get this material, this came out in 2020. And since then, there has not been any more of this qualities. That's how rare this stuff can get. It's just,
Wow.
it's really tricky. So, the iconic pieces, right?
Yeah. And just the way that that's cut too, to really like highlight
Yeah.
all of the rutile in it.
Hmm. Yeah. So, yeah. And the color, the tone of the stone, it goes from copper to brassy to the gold. You got 14, 18, 22 to 24 karat gold color. It's just,
Yeah,
it's amazing, really.
it really is.
Mm, yeah. Oh, all right. I'll show you something real quick. Also, I'll have topaz crystals, natural, that from the Amazon that I was able to recover while we were working there. I'll have those in Tucson also. This is one of the most amazing crystals from that 2020 production.
Oh my God, I think I remember that one too.
Isn't
I
this?
think you showed that to me
I think I
last
did when
year.
I came by. I had just got,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know. That one's just mind blowing.
And so on this one, I cut the back, which created a window, and you can see into the crystal and the layers and the
Beautiful.
formation, the crystallization.
Someone was asking if you could tell us a little bit more about the environment that these kind of crystals are formed in.
These crystals are approximately 500 million years old.
Wow.
And so the crystallization happens deep in the earth under high temperature, high pressure, and fluids are cutting through this more ancient host rock, which is 1.7 billion year old volcanic mountain range that was on the edge of an inland sea at that time. And this exotic volcanic range has these unusual elements in it. We have rare earths, we have rare earth minerals that occur there. So during the great tectonic event from 480 to 520 million years ago, which formed many of the crystals in Africa, the same crystals in Africa, same event. Those forces were happening at great depth, and so it generated mobile movement. Fluids come up, so you have fluids and gases at great depth cross-cutting through this mountain range, which sucked up some of the minerals or elements to bring in the hematite and the rutile. It's an amazing process. And when those fluids happen around granitic bodies, you get pegmatite. So you get these bubbles, and then the crystals will form in these bubbles. And if you think about how you distill essential oils from plants, you steam it and the volatiles go off, the rare elements concentrate as the essential oils. So, in essence, the crystals that we're working with from pegmatites and quartz crystals is distilled crust of the earth. And those rare elements and volatiles end up in these bubbles and pockets and veins. And then, when there's space, they form these amazing crystals. It's really magic.
It really is like just,
Earth.
I mean, yeah, the way, nature creates is just like, yeah, that's just magic.
Yeah. It's a fascinating science, full of beyond the science. It's full of mysticism and all kinds of things that we all appreciate.
Yeah. I'm being told we need to wrap this up for the next presentation, but yeah, I could listen to this all day.
Well, all of you, please come to our event in Tucson, and we can talk all day.
Definitely, yeah, contact Brian, check out his stones, hopefully see you all in Tucson. Yeah, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks, Nikki, for the
Yeah, happy
help.
to be part of this. Yeah, thanks for having me on here.